So welcome, bro. Miru Patel is from UK, CEO of Sapian Group and co of Flash Group. And Miru is a business visionary with skills and experience in IT. And he's a fearless, disruptive, serious entrepreneur, award-winning public speaker, motivator. And he's spoken hundreds of venues ranging from TEDx to world political events with 3 decades of experience, technology, property investment development. And he's a personally invested in a lot of companies in Europe, UK, USA, India, emerging markets. Go ahead. Over to you, Miru.
Thank you, Rajan. First of all, let me say thank you for dropping me in it to a few hours ago to take on this slot because my good friend Kuram apparently is not around or not well. But wherever you are, Kuram, hope you are safe and well. Anyway, let's take this off. That's enough of that. So, could I share my slides here and entire screen or slides share? Okay, can you see my slides? Let me know, Rajan.
No, not yet. I can't see.
Rajan,
I can't see the slides.
you
Why
can't
don't
see the slide?
you're yet to share.
I did the share. It doesn't seem to work on your platform somehow. Um,
There is an arrow down. Share screen. Click that.
yeah, that's what I did.
And from the desktop, you can share the point presentation.
Okay, and that's what I did. Application window,
Yes.
and
Is it in the desktop?
okay, it's not this one.
Yeah, it's fine. Visible.
Yeah, but it's not that one.
Yeah.
Okay, look, not to worry. I will talk it through, and not a problem. Okay, so first and foremost, thank you and Rajan for having me at such short notice. I know I've got a panel on tokenization, but as Rajan pointed out, I've got lots and lots of experience, 25 plus years in IT, real estate investments, technology, right at the forefront from the early dotcom and Java days, all the way through several innovations in real estate, finance, digital banking, and things along those lines. Okay, so what our topic today is, Rajan has asked me to cover is what do we think is the emerging business models and what are the challenges that is happening, especially in the crypto, DeFi, and the future of this NFT that everyone keeps hearing about. So before we go into that, let's go into what I call where have we come from, what's worked, what hasn't worked, and then take it from there. Okay, so in my personal experience with some of the biggest blue chip companies in the world, IBM, Sun Microsystems, Siemens, and you name it, I've worked with some of the biggest innovators, biggest people in the industry, work for, and I can name names, but let's not go there. All right. So in that 25 years, right at what I call the big thing that made the connected world even smaller was internet. So that dot-com era, when I was there at Sun Microsystems, we always used to go and tell our clients, if you don't transition to a dot-com world, you will be left behind and you will fail and you will run out of business or you will just go bankrupt. So, I can name most of them, but look at the Toys R Us, the Woolworths if you're in UK or Britain, etc., and look where they are now, okay? So we were at the early days of helping eBays, Amazons, Facebooks with their infrastructure at the back end, and that's where the world was going. However, what happened, and there's lots of synergies we see even in the crypto world and the DeFi NFT space, and that's the lessons that I'm talking about. So in that dot-com world, and I remember very clearly, even in the Silicon Valley when I was there going for a haircut, and the hairdresser tells you, hey, Steve Jobs was here earlier and he was saying buy this and don't buy that, and that's what I'm doing. And when it gets to that level, that's when you get out, okay? And again, in New York, I remember going in the underground in the Grand Central and going for a shoe shine, and then going out and buying the newspaper, and then buying the hot dog. And these people are saying, "Hey, Mr. Patel, what's happening, and what's hot to invest in?" Because you were in the dot-com Sundays, everyone asking this advice. But that's when you know that it's a bubble. So we saw this happening during the Bitcoin days, and that's why, in my view, it started to crash, because everyone was going in it. However, with this recovery, I see that this is happening. So just a quick check, Rajan, if you're there, can you see me in the video? Because I can't see that image. Oh yes, I can. Okay, so then what happened was, in that dot-com era, um, you got that bubble, and we seeing that in the blockchain and the crypto world, with the ICOs, IEOs, and all these O's that keep happening. So in my view, those similarities are now causing a lot of problems. If you then look at what happened, 5%, 10% maximum floated, and you have the big Amazons, eBays, and Facebooks, to name a few. And then in the finance, the Charles Schwab, the E-Trades, and all these people started really flourishing. So we got the early exchanges, and what it told you was, cut that middleman out and bring services direct to the clients, because that whole distribution, supply chain, middleman, intermediaries was taking too much cut on top of cut on top of the cut. And that's what's happening with the blockchain space, to reduce it, crunch it, and to bring service directly to the clients. And that's where we're going. The next lesson I saw was the financial bubble. Again, if you look at why it crashed, it's because everyone was leveraging on money on the back of money on the back of money. You got a mortgage, but then it was refinanced, and then it was hedged, and all this. And when one domino goes down, the whole card deck actually absolutely crashes. And that's what happened in the 2008 bubble. We then saw Bitcoin give birth, 12 years ago and a few days, dare I say it. And what did we see? Crazy thousands of percent gains. So it then became another bubble. It moved so fast that it threatened a lot of the financial institutions. I remember distinctly speaking in events 3-4 years ago in Singapore, and even 2.5 years ago in San Francisco, with Tim Draper, right in the peak of ICO days, 2.5-3 years ago, saying, this ICO stuff is rubbish, because I can't look, feel, see, touch what we are buying. And 9 times out of 10, these guys don't know how to even do any form of business. They're just a bunch of techies getting things out, and they cannot be even responsible for taking investors' money. So that crash was due to come, and dare I say, ICOs, STOs, all the bloody O's, sorry to say, kind of like lost flavor and crashed. A majority of them crashed. And with it came the birth of the DeFi space and the NFT space. And in my views, again, majority didn't know how to run businesses. They didn't have liquidity. They didn't know how to manage a business. They didn't know how to handle cash flow. So all these things happened, and it wasn't right. So what happens next? In my view, the current momentum is cut that middleman out. So whatever DeFi model there is, be it loans, financing, insurance, taking rewards, whatever it is, look at their business model and make sure, if you're developing one, make sure you have a business model that's unique. It's not duplicated. It's not copied from someone. It has a real value proposition. Then do a proper business plan. Don't just put on a website and put on a Uniswap token and things like that. And if you're an investor, look at it from a point of view, would I invest in this company just like traditional ways, and you won't go far wrong. Because what is happening, in my view now, everybody wants, especially with COVID happening, everybody wants to cut that middleman down. We've all been destined to work from home, and we're looking at everything from our food supplies being delivered to banking to media to doing even these Zoom conferences where I used to travel like crazy, over 100 flights in like 70 days or 90 days rather, and it was crazy, right? In those 6-7 months, we did stupid amount of flying around, often two places on the same day. So, all this now, people are saying, hang on, we haven't got time to do that. So what I see for investors, as well as if you're a developer, is look at those fundamentals of why the world is saying, no more traditional high street banks really required. You have so many digital wallets, and you have so many different ways of doing anything from your normal standard banking, because it's proven 90% of the banking industry hardly see their customers, or the traditionals go there, deposit your money, withdraw some money, put a standing order or a direct debit. All those days are gone. It can all be done online. So high street banks, in my view, I said it 5 years ago that 50% will disappear. It's already happening. And same thing with currencies. I said 3 years ago when Bitcoin was on its peak, I said this is the currency that is going to drive it. It may not be Bitcoin itself, but it'll be some form of digital currency. Why do we need paper to say this is what it's worth? Because paper is the value that the governments, the central banks, the treasury, and all these, dare I say, cartels control in the world to say when shall we devalue it or when shall we inflate it. And with COVID now, and places like America printing money, dare I say it, till it's out of fashion, almost on a few monthly basis, their debt is in the trillions. Someone somewhere has to pay for it, and that's the taxpayer. So what is happening is the savvy people, the ultra high net worths, the big corporations, hedge funds, institutions are all saying, hang on, is my money really saved in the dollar? And 3 years ago, when I mentioned this during Bitcoin's peak, was, the dollar will lose value. And I've had numerous arguments, debates, including with the Tim Drapers of the world. No, American dollar will always remain, including some big financial institutions. And even Jamie Dimon and all these guys were saying this is all, scandals and scams and all that, whilst they were buying it themselves. Goldman Sachs, same thing. And they're doing it again now. So my view, just like when gold in the early 20s, 30s became so valued in terms of store of value, Americans had to take it all in, then ban it by Roosevelt. He did it, Franklin Roosevelt, in 33 or something like that. And then what happened was, until they bought majority of it, they then make it official, and that's where the gold price, really bombed up. Okay, Bitcoin, same thing. If Bitcoin goes to 250,000 or something like that, I can assure you all these banks, governments will start thinking of banning it, because it's taking over their currency and their value. Because with Bitcoin, all the other altcoins will start pulling up. And when they all pull up, it's power to the people, okay? And what's happening, and I don't call it DeFi, I call it PFI, power to the people, peer-to-peer financing. That's what's coming on. And what's making it happen is when even a lot of governments now, taking on the CBDC initiative of central banking digital currency, and looking at technologies like the Ripples of the world or other technologies to make their own. The Chinese one, classic case, for those of you who didn't hear about it, again, 3 years ago, I said, watch out for the Chinese, just watch out. They are going to control it. They're fed up with being pegged to the dollar. They're fed up with doing world transactions. And this is their only way to get global number one GDP economy in the world. And for those of you who didn't watch it, last year China has been silently piloting their own version of the digital yuan, and their own stable coin. And they've decided now to peg it against their own Chinese yuan. And yesterday, or day before rather, I saw this challenging all these people for the last 3 years that it will happen. They've said they are not going to peg it against the US dollar. Now think about that. Most of the world's transactions now, where the dollar is something like $7 trillion daily transaction, and you account for the Chinese yuan, you account for the Indian rupees, you account for the euros, and all these countries already started doing it. Switzerland, Malaysia, a lot of countries are looking at the digital currency. What is going to happen to the dollar? Okay, people will say, you know what, I'm not going through this sort of banking cartel, SWIFT, transfer ways which are A, expensive, B, too slow, etc. I'm going to use my own way, and that's how I will manage our cross-border payments for major transactions. So Chinese made that announcement. I don't know why people are shocked about it. I spoke it all the time for 3 years, even 2 months ago, debating with a lawyer friend of mine in LA. I won't name him, but he knows who he is. Okay. So what do I see going forward in this DeFi crypto space? We've already seen Bitcoin touch 40, 41K. We've seen it pull back, bound to happen. Whenever people make money, they pull back. Personally, I see Bitcoin going to good part of nearly 200,000 end of the year, but certainly around the 40, 45, even 50 mark within the quarter. All depends on one thing and one thing only. I think it's based on that SEC fight with Ripple, whether Ripple is a security or a utility currency with the Japanese, and a lot of the other banks and governments have already said this is not a security token, it is a currency, and now the big fight is on the SEC. My personal view, if SEC do that, then there'll be a huge impact on all crypto. If they accept it, they now can take the fight on with the Chinese CBDC. So that's my view. So the world is going P5. What are the big issues now? The big issues for that to happen are very simple. In my view, it's back to simplicity, simplicity, and simplicity. Us in the blockchain, DeFi, crypto space, no matter where you're in, we tend to make things too difficult for people to use and adopt and things like that. Why are some of the big exchanges that are very simple without advertising them working better? We ourselves, we have our own ecosystem. We have our own exchange, the Flash Exchanger. We have our own DeFi model. We have our own crypto stations. We have our own smart card. We have our own wallet for doing masternodes staking, which is doing over 300% per annum at the moment. It's been working for more than 11 months now. So it's already a tried and tested environment with our staking and masternode program. Now we are taking that whole ecosystem and going to launch as a live use case. So simplicity. If you go to Sapian.com or flashgroup.io, you will see some of the products we are developing to help this ecosystem move forward. Okay, so my famous quote is, if you don't keep things too simple, you're not sophisticated, and you make it very difficult for people to come in, and no one's going to use it. So forget trying to be, a dog's breakfast, or in DeFi, do I call it yam, sushi, burgers, hot dogs, pizzas, etc. Stop being like, something without even a white paper. People will immediately see through that now. Investors are getting sophisticated, and so are the end users. They want to see real business models, real differentiators, and things like that. NFTs and art, another big thing. But my view is people are the product. Now the move is people. Anything that's people orientated, that's where the DeFi NFT space is going. What do I mean by that? And I'll summarize. What I mean by that is, if you are a person that is going to have a social media, what you like, what you don't like, what you share, what you have music, you have an art collection, you have some certain photographs, you're a celebrity status, la la la. if you're one of these people, you can tokenize you and then sell those bits, be it on a license type of basis. You can turn it into an equity type of thing. You can tokenize and make it an NFT. You could give digitized versions of it. You could sell the originals, etc. Okay, it could be music, art, or even your, what I call, your digital profile. That's where the world is going. Cut all that middleman out. Okay, and then, the next big hot topic for me is data privacy and things along these lines. Okay, you've seen the Cambridge Analytics case against Facebook, and what Facebook did lately with your data and sell it, and now want to blackmail people to use WhatsApp and share it with Facebook. Imagine Facebook having all your likes, dislikes, personal photographs, friends, families, or right now to your conversations, which were supposed to be private, of who you speak to, your groups, your friends, and right down to even transactions that you say, hey, send me this or send me that, or here's a picture of you. And I know lots of people who even send data with bank statements and lots of data like that. So imagine them having that. Now, here's the nightmare. Remember Libra and DM? That's exactly what they want. When Facebook becomes a financial company, they will make that so simple for people to transact with their 2 billion plus users and become probably the world's biggest social media banking platform. So that's game over for a lot of people. That's where it is going. So differentiate yourself away from that. Okay, keep it simple. Don't go for the 1,000 and 10,000 year plays. Those are the ones who generally don't have a good business model of sustainability. So make it simple, be sustainable. Don't do the big hairy pumps and dumps types of projects. And with that, I say thank you. Keep it simple, keep it sophisticated, keep it real, and make sure you have a fantastic business model with lots of liquidity before you go and invite investors to put money in you. They usually want to see your pain, what you've gone through, before they put their own money in there. Okay? If anybody needs to speak to me, just ping me. Very easily found. Muru Patel, MRUPATEL, LinkedIn, wherever, and sapiengroup.com. Over to you, Rajan. I think I'm bang on time, minus 1 minute.
Thank you.
So I could take a question. I could take some questions.
Any
That's why I
questions
usually
coming
leave.
up?
That's why I leave.
Let's see.
That's why I leave some time always. Yeah. So if anyone wants to ask questions, just say it.
Someone is, no questions are coming, just comments are coming in.
They're saying, would you like to be sharing the videos? People want the videos to digest it.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Videos will be shared. Yeah, that's not a problem.
Yeah. So videos will be shared where, and where do we do it?
We'll be sharing it in LinkedIn, and we'll be sharing it in Facebook.
Okay.
And if you want, we'll share the links with you.
Yeah, so share it with me, and I'll post it. Yeah, I'll post it around in my network as well. Do you want to ask me a question, Rajan? You ask me one question. Go for it.
I want to ask you the potential opportunities for DeFi space, NFT space. Especially the DeFi startups or the NFT marketplaces are coming up more.
Yeah, so my view in the opportunities in DeFi and NFT space is where people are doing, personalized touch points with people, i.e., what is their biggest pain, and making it very simple. So I touched on insurance, loans, pictures, music, art. There are so many types of NFTs, and I can even say a building, and I'll cover that on my panel. A building is a DeFi stroke NFT play, because you could take one building, and I'm from the property market, as you know as well, where you had in the early days putting it into an SPV, and then whoever put whatever money, they get a shareholding, and the operator keeps X amount for profit, operations, etc. What you think now is that can be one NFT, and people get a share certificate And if it's a buildings that's returning rentals, then they get their returns all through smart contracts. You've cut lawyers, you've cut conveyancing people, you've cut real estate brokers, agents, etc., etc. So the game is where you are cutting a lot of that middleman out. Those are the plays. And I could even go in the medical field. So if there is a DeFi play where in the medical field, my view is you will see robotic doctors soon, okay, where the specialist doctors are programming the rules, the basis, and all that, and where sentiments and emotion don't come into play, or where a doctor is tired and he hasn't had much sleep and worked 18 hours, which I know a lot of surgeons do, by the way. So those kinds of plays, and then providing it as a platform and a service remotely is another play, okay? And why DeFi? Because of course you can monetize that, and whoever invests gets money based on a share of what they have, based on the revenue it takes. So think of everything as business. Don't think of the same old tokens, peer-to-peer loans, etc. He who thinks differently will be the opportunities.
Thanks a lot. We go for the next session because the time is right now.
Good.
So,
there's a question there from Haidar or something.
You have a panel discussion. We can do it later.
Yeah, sure.
Any question coming up? Where do you find investors in NFT? That is back to residential real estate. So in the
do you think the same point of regulators will intervene to stop Bitcoin's huge rise? Yeah, absolutely. And I think I touched on that. If Bitcoin reaches 250,000, I think regulators will come in really, really strong, because you're eating people's pensions. You're eating banks going bankrupt. You're eating central bank, treasury, all the regulators. Look how many middlemen you've cut. You right down to people who print money, the De La Rues of the world, dare I say it, who print a lot of money. So even those printers, you are eating into all these 8 or so stakeholders just for that paper note that we carry in our pocket that says it is worth X amount. So regulators will feel threatened as well and pressured by that so-called cartel of protectors, okay? So personally, there'll be a big fight. That's why I'm very, very interested to see what happens with this SEC XRP ruling, whether it's a security or a currency, because based on that and what China has done, USA, unfortunately, what they do, it does have an impact elsewhere in the world. USA will be hugely impacted if they don't do something on digital currencies. China has already taken the lead now, and I know they will not want to stand still, because a big slice of the dollar market transaction will be taken away, and deflation is coming, and the dollar will be devalued. Already started. Okay?
We have another question from Simon. Where do I find investors in an NFT that is pegged to residential real estate?
Very long question, Simon. Ping me on my LinkedIn and we'll have a discussion. Very long debate, but there are so many ways you can look at this. Okay, so just ping me.
It's a question from Sapian Group itself.
Bitcoin. Darius is there. In my view, Bitcoin is not stable enough to be used as a currency. Cryptocurrency to be used for payments. Okay, cryptocurrency as a payments, good question, Darius. So yes, people want stability, as I said. So Bitcoin, store of value, think of it like a gold or a real estate or something, where big institutions or hedge funds put money in as a store of value and it grows over time. However, day-to-day currency needs some form of pegging. We ourselves have our own coin called OZTG, and it's pegged against gold. But we have like an intrinsic value and a market value, and we try and keep this so they don't meet. So our OZT coin, OZTG it's called, coin with the price of gold is pegged, so it won't be like all the altcoins. So what happens is, if all the altcoins dump, we will not have a drop below a certain amount because it's already pegged against gold. It's not pegged against other currencies, or we don't have anything to back it. Okay, that's the biggest difference we have in our ecosystem. So very, very, very well thought out full ecosystem.
What are your views on STOs from Harris?
What are your? I didn't see that
STO.
one. Where is that? From Harish. What are your views on STOs? I think it's dead meat in my view. Okay, security token offerings are dead meat in the sense people or investors are looking a lot more into the mechanics of how people run it as a business rather than doing a token. So if an STO, if I'm going to invest in an STO, I would look at it as a business first rather than an STO. So I would look at it to say, does this thing have core business fundamentals? Does this team have core business experiences? Does their project meet certain need? Does it have a market? Who are its clients? Do they have a momentum? Do they have cash? Do they have liquidity? All these basic fundamental due diligence things you would do. If it's wrapped around an STO and its license makes it more secure. So that's my view.
Okay,
All
thanks.
right, let's go. Okay, thank you very much. And ours is with solid assets, gold sitting in a vault, solid. But we are not calling it security token. It's an asset pegged token. It's pegged against gold. Okay, so people don't lose their money. That's the main difference. Harish, I just saw your question there. All right,
Thank
thank
you.
you very
Thank
much,
you.
and I'll see you later on at 8 o'clock UK time. Correct?
Yes, right. Thank you.
See you, Rajan.
Thank you.
Bye.
See you.
Bye.
Bye.